I've been a fan of Disney for as long as I can remember, and as a young kid, I remembered all the great rides that thrilled and entertained me from Space Mountain to It's a Small World. A number of years ago, after a long hiatus, I was reintroduced to Disney's theme parks by my wife, and I was thrilled, entertained, and amazed at the technology and Imagineering that Disney used throughout their parks. However, one ride was a huge disappointment, and it did not speak to the great big beautiful tomorrow that Walt had envisioned. That ride is Autopia. Autopia has gone by a few different names over the years and is in 3 Disney theme parks. It is a very simple ride concept. It is a series of tracks with go-karts that anyone can drive, some with supervision, and the cars bounce along a guide track as you quote-unquote drive. So what is the problem with Autopia? Each go-kart is powered by a Honda IGX 270 4-stroke engine. This engine is where the illusion of tomorrow dies. As you walk by Autopia, you will immediately be hit by the smell of Autopia.
Yep, it smells, doesn't it?
These 4-stroke engines run incredibly dirty and have almost no exhaust controls, like a typical car would. According to the EPA, in just 1 hour of operation, one of these tiny go-karts has the same emissions as a typical car driving 350 miles. Wow, that's a lot. So let's do some math to see how much of a negative impact these tiny go-karts have on our environment and health, and show Disney why they need to change these carts to electric motors ASAP. The capacity of Autopia is around 450 guests per hour. Let's assume there are 1.5 riders per vehicle. This puts us at about 300 laps per hour, and the ride is about 5 minutes long. This means each car gets about 12 laps in an hour. So 300 divided by 12 is 25 carts. But there is another 5 to 10 carts in the process of loading and unloading. For this analysis, let's lowball our estimate and say there are about 30 carts, all running at a given time. Looking at the spec for this engine consumes about 0.422 gallons per hour. That actually sounds pretty good for an engine running constantly for an hour. With 30 cars, this comes to about 10.6 gallons per hour. And over a typical 12-hour theme park day, Autopia goes through 152 gallons of gas every day. Let's break this down into how much CO2 this actually creates. According to the EPA, each gallon of gas creates 19.55 pounds of CO2. Remember, the gas reacts with the oxygen around us, and that is why it creates so much more weight in CO2 than a gallon of gas is. A bit of a tangent here, but this fact alone is a bit shocking. And I think if people could actually see that amount of CO2 they are generating, we might be having different discussions about how to address climate change. This means every day Disney generates in one park 19.55 pounds times 152 gallons. That equals 2,971 pounds of CO2. Wow, almost 1.5 tons. Let's put this in perspective of trees. A typical tree consumes about 48 pounds of CO2 a year. That is not a lot. In order to offset this amount of CO2, Disney would need to plant 2,971 pounds divided by 48 pounds equals 62 trees. And that's just for one day in one park. If we multiply that by the 3 parks this is installed in, Disneyland, Magic Kingdom, and Disneyland Paris, and multiply that by 365 days of operation, Disney would need to plant 67,899 trees just to offset the emissions. That is an entire forest just to offset Autopia. I hope this helps put the impact into perspective. But this is not the only impact these dirty engines have. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out. And if you really want to see Disney make a change to this ride, please leave a comment in the comment section and share this video around so we can get Disney's attention and encourage them to make a change to this ride. Along with the overarching impact of global climate change, which arguably these cars are a drop in the bucket, these cars have an immediate impact on the guests, temporarily, and more importantly, the cast members that operate Autopia every single day. Engine exhaust is a collection of chemicals, and none of them are good for you. These engines generate carbon monoxide. It aggravates heart disease and impairs alertness. Nitrogen oxide, or NOx. It impairs breathing, increases lung infections, and worsens existing lung disease. And last but not least, particulate matter. It irritates lungs pathways, which can increase respiratory infection and asthma attacks and worsen disease. None of these are good for you. There are only downsides. I myself have even gotten a headache by just sitting at a table near the track. According to the Environmental Defense Fund, air pollution is now the biggest environmental risk for an early death and can be attributed to 6 million premature deaths each year. Some research even suggests that long-term exposure is the equivalent of smoking a pack of cigarettes a day. So next time you ride Autopia, imagine all of those cast members being forced to smoke a pack of cigarettes each day. It really ruins the magic. All of this being said, I have been to Shanghai and Mexico City, two fairly polluted cities, and I would argue the emissions in the general vicinity of Autopia are worse than living in those cities. Let's put this in terms of idling cars. Imagine all of the pollution from your own car driving 350 miles. Multiply it by 30 and force all of that exhaust into a fairly small track. It would be the equivalent of having 175 cars just sitting in that one space idling. That's just crazy to think about, and Disney needs to do something about it. I have to give a big shout out to the Now You Know channel because they inspired me to make this video. They had a great video on small engine exhaust and pollution in California, and it really led me to making this video. You'll find a link in the description. Even if you ignore the climate change impact and health impact, these cars are just slow, hard to maintain, and are from a different time. If you replace these engines with clean, no maintenance electric go-karts, these cars would have far better acceleration, no maintenance, and would not waste any energy idling. In some ways, I wish that Tesla would partner with Disney on this. But at the same time, this is a relatively low impact for Tesla, so I don't see that being a major focus for them. So I'm just really frustrated that this great ride like Autopia is so set in the past, and it's in Tomorrowland. That really drives me crazy. I would really like to see Disney partner with someone where they could actually remake this ride into something with electric vehicles. I don't think it would be that difficult, and I think it is time for Disney to make a move. There are just so many reasons for Disney to go electric, and at this point I just don't understand why they have not. Maybe Disney just needs a little nudge to push them to do the right thing. This is where I think you actually have some power to help the situation. If you can help promote this video by liking, commenting, and sharing, then the YouTube algorithm will help share this video to even more people. And maybe if this video gets enough views, we can shine a spotlight on this issue so that Disney finally pays attention and goes electric. Thanks, and have a great day. Bye.